was kind of wanted to do that
We called it to order.
in between.
100 milligrams of caffeine, that's what I was looking for. It's not overly hard, it's not crazy.
But it
Like
works.
the B vitamins, and so on just really help people process better without the.
This meeting of the board is now in session. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
To welcome everyone to our meeting this evening. Our first order of business is to approve our agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda as presented?
Nothing from me.
Very good then. Can I have a motion, please, on page 2?
President Van Lintwerp, I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Education approve the agenda as printed.
Thank you, Keith. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes, and we'll be on our way with the superintendent's report, please.
Well, we have 2 items to report to you on, and the first is the bond project update, and I'll be doing that one since Johnny is out of town with a few of our teachers and administrators taking a look at some elementary schools and how they function in the same kind of space that we're designing. So they're off doing that, and we'll be back later this week. So it's my duty to give that part of the report. First of all, I want to say, you know, with the tornadoes, none of our buildings received any damage. That was great news. I mean, some of our families and staff members that weren't quite as lucky. I mean, that tornado had to go somewhere, but it missed all of our buildings. So none of our schools, none of our construction sites were impacted by that. And I will say we do carry insurance in case something were to happen at our construction sites. Of course, that doesn't offset the time that may be lost when something happens, but we do have insurance coverage for that. And our the workers continued their work on the buildings. It's amazing how many power tools now don't rely on electricity to run, because we were without power for at least a couple days there at the site. So that's good news. Aside from that, we do have a number of students and staff members who were impacted by the tornadoes. We've been, fortunately, no one was hurt seriously. We do have the students at Woodland were probably the group that was most impacted by that. We had approximately 20 students there alone who lost their homes to some degree where they were displaced. Fortunately, we have some funds to help them with that through the McKinney-Vento Act, a federal act that requires us to address homeless students. We're able to provide primarily gas cards so their parents could have the funds to get their kids back and forth to school. Jody did some travel adjustments to the bus schedule so that we could get kids there. So a lot of people stepped up. The support we received from the community was wonderful. We had good communications with the city of Portage while all this was going on. Tried to coordinate as much as we could. And many of our groups, our student groups, individuals, just impromptu groups popping up, were around to help one another. Many of our teachers and staff members came to the aid of the people that they knew, their colleagues, several of who lost their homes. And so it's just nice to see that kind of a collegial effort in addressing the needs of the community when something like this comes up. But we were able to open school back up on Monday. We did Thursday and Friday were our 7th and 8th days of school closures. We're allowed 6 days total without approaching the state for permission. So we did ask for permission for those additional 2 days for a waiver, and within 24 hours we were granted that. So we don't have to make up those 2 additional days. We'll be able to conclude school at its normally scheduled time. So that's all good news. So that's a little apart from the bond project update, but tied into it nonetheless because of our sites. So at Central L, The Central L hit a major milestone whereby the roof of the building is being installed, and that helps us to continue construction inside the building in the event of rain and some other weather conditions. They're continuing spraying foam on the exterior of the building, and that work is done prior to laying of the brick on the facade. 2 weeks ago, bricks were up about the window level on the first floor, and now the brick is making its way up to that second floor level. Steel contractor continues to work at the canopy frame, installing that. And on the inside of the school, the radiant floor on the second floor has been completed. On the first floor, concrete floors are finished. So in most of the areas. So the radiant floor, in case you have questions, the radiant floor works in conjunction with the HVAC system in that heat rises. So with the little ones, trying to keep the bottom portion of the classroom warm is always a challenge. So the radiant floors complement the HVAC system, the heating portion of the HVAC system during the months that we're heating the buildings. So over at Haverhill, the concrete flooring has been poured in about half of the school on the first floor. Underground utilities we anticipate will be done this week, and the steel roofing has been started, as well as the steel on their canopy in the front of their building. At Woodland, we're about at the 50% design development mark, and held our last meeting on May 10th, where Tower Pinkster conducted a virtual walkthrough of the school, which was really cool to see, because you take those two-dimensional drawings and make them like you can walk through the space and do a 360 in those rooms. So that was really neat to see. Our team was there, as was the leadership of Woodland Elementary School. So you pick up things that you don't otherwise see. For example, we were looking at the walkway that the handicap accessible walkway and how that was designed, and had some suggestions for how we may have that look less imposing than it did with the walls. So a lot of good ideas exchanged during that process. And then we'll be taking that same product over to the Woodland staff on May 28th for their review. And then what our plan is right now is at the June 10th board meeting, we will do an update for the board as to where we are, and so you can see kind of what we've been working on, where we're going. And then the last thing I want to mention, it's not our bond related, but it will impact our kids. The county superintendents today had a chance to tour the Career Connect campus and the CTE center there. We did a walkthrough of the building, and that's a fantastic facility. I mean, our kids and the staff that will get to work there will really enjoy a very nice facility with some just beautiful spaces and nicely done building. And there's some renderings here of the work that's taking place there, along with the floor plan. But that center is scheduled to open in the fall of 2025. They got a lot of work to do, but they've come a long way. And they have probably close to 100 workers on site on any given day. So a lot of work, and I'll pass that around if you want to take a look. Be happy to answer any questions that I can pass along to Johnny. Good? All right, thank you.
Well, Mark, the CTE center, I'm not sure if it falls into PPS or if it's right on the border, but it's close for our students, so.
Very
I suspect
convenient
our students
location.
will make full use of that facility.
Being on a neutral site will help as well, so
Yeah.
it is convenient, conveniently located. Once they get all the road construction done, it'll be even easier.
It's in the exact center of the county.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And it's kind of where PPS and Comstock and KPS all kind of
Come together there,
Yeah.
yeah. Exactly. And they received no storm damage either, it just fell south of them as well. All right, that's it for the bond project update, and Paula is here to give you the financial report.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
Are you sure you don't want to give my financial report to me, since you gave Johnny?
No, go ahead, you'll do fine.
Okay. Good evening, trustees and Superintendent Beeling. Included in your board packet this evening was a financial report reflective as the end of April. That's 10 months of our fiscal year.
And I have to say, I sat and I looked at this report for quite a while, and I had to dig really deep just to be able to find some things to talk to you about in this report. It's rather boring, but I'll try to be brief. On the first page, breaks everything down by function code. Our local payments from districts is up slightly, and that has to do with our enhancement millage payments. I usually budget down slightly to take into account for any refunds tax refunds that we may receive against the enhancement millage. And the refunds so far have come in rather low, so I'll be adjusting that revenue budget at final to be more current of reflective collections, because it's currently showing that it's over 100% collected right now. Well, that's because I took a conservative approach in the revenue side, because there's always tax refunds, and you never know if it's gonna be a low tax refund year or a high tax refund year, so I'll fix it at final. Moving down under the expenditure area, under instruction, added needs is up compared to last year, and that has to do with our at-risk and Section 41 increased award amounts that we received over the previous school year. We also are spending some 11T money that is coming to a close at this time, and we also have the American Rescue Plan McKinney-Vento grant that's funneling through this line item of expenditures. We did not have that grant last year as well, so that's causing expenditures to be up higher as compared to last year. Moving down under support services, for other support services, we are up in this area as compared to last year as well, due to coaching costs and official costs, and also we've spent a little bit more in the athletic supply area this year than what we've spent last year. Moving down one more line item to community services. We are also up in this area as compared to last year, but that has to do with the timing of a couple of our federal grants that we have. Our Title I parent involvement and our Title III immigrant funding are funneling through this function code area of the budget. So we saw a little uptick there in those costs this year as compared to last year. On page 2 of the report, where things are broken out by object code, just want to bring it to the board's attention that our purchase service area is up as compared to last year by about 5%. I can explain to you why. Our sub costs are up, our dual enrollment costs are up. We have a 99U grant that we received this year. It has a lot of purchase services that are funneled and budgeted for in that area. Our insurance costs are up slightly with SETSEG. We also experienced a timing issue with the city of Portage for our police liaison officers. It was paid out of cycle compared to the previous year, so it all works itself out in the end, but it's a timing issue. So that pretty much wraps up the major things that I had to dig to find for the financial report for the board. But I would like to take a moment to just touch on a few items from the consensus revenue estimating conference that was held on Friday morning, May 17th, this past Friday. I'll give you just the highlights because I won't bore you with all of the details. This is the conference that happens where they look at targeted budget numbers to see where they're at before they move into the final phase of the state school aid budget. The general fund target numbers are up slightly, but unfortunately the state school aid target numbers are down slightly. And state school aid is down because sales and use tax collections are down. And 73% of the state school aid fund is funded by sales and use tax. So they'll have to make a slight adjustment down in the state school aid revenue target numbers based on the revenue estimating conference that happened on Friday. But it does show positive small increases in future years. This is just a correction that's being made at this time on the state school aid fund. The state is budgeting down students for next year. They're budgeting down about 6,200 students statewide. And this is a combination of like a 7,100 student decrease for public schools and like a 900 student increase for public school academies. So an overall net decrease of students of 6,200. As you know, all 3 budget proposals have been released as of now. The governor came out with hers in February, House and Senate have come out with theirs. each of those increases ranges between $217 up to $302. So House and Senate have passed their budgets at their chambers. So now they go work in a consensus conference committee to work out all the final details now that they have the consensus revenue estimating numbers, and they come out with a final number of what the budget's going to be and what all the different categorical fundings will be. So I read somewhere over the weekend that they're hoping to target for June 13th for this, which that would be fantastic because our budget hearing is on June 24th, so I should be able to incorporate that into the preliminary budget if I have it. If not, as you all know, I have to pick which number I think it's gonna be. Sometimes I pick right, sometimes I don't. So, but that's basically the highlight of the items from the Consensus Revenue Estimating Conference and where things are sitting in Lansing. Are there any questions?
Senior estimates.
Thanks for that information, Paul.
Surprising amount of accuracy. You are surprisingly accurate with estimates.
Okay, we'll move to our comments and communications section, and I believe we have one person who would like to address the board this evening. Welcome, Kat.
Hello, trustees, administrators. I have the pleasure of knowing many of you already, and I want to reintroduce myself. My name is Kat Frink, and I'm going to be the Portage Education Association president starting June 8th. With 20 years of experience teaching physics and math at Central High, I have a passion for education and a firm commitment to advocating for the well-being of our teachers, our staff, and ultimately our students. Like you all, I have seen the transformative power of public education. I have seen dedication and hard work from our educators, the resilience of our students, and the support of our community. I believe in the power of collaboration and dialogue, and I'm eager to work with each of you to achieve our shared goals. My contact information is available in this letter, which I've left with Barb. I wish I could stay around and chat with you after the meeting, but duty is already calling. There's an MEA meeting that started at 6:30 that I also have to attend. But I wanted to stop here, share this information with you first. Thank you for your time tonight, your commitment to our community, our teachers, and our students. I look forward to seeing you at the PEA retirement dinner this coming week. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kat. We appreciate you stopping by. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
I'll email you a copy.
Are there any comments from board trustees this evening?
I wanted to highlight a couple things. I have always supported vocational training, as you know. I keep bringing up early middle college, but the students at Portage Northern Engineering and Wood Technology class, the two of them that scored at the Michigan Industrial Technology Education Society conference, I thought that was fantastic. Ben Harlow for the 6th place with the walnut end table, kudos to him, and Riley Reinhardt for earning grand champion for her paddleboard. That paddleboard was quite impressive when I saw it. The first photo I saw of it, I went, oh, beautiful, oh my, amazing. And I love that that vocational training is going on, so because that builds success for all students. And on that, I want to give a shout out to the staff who are working with early middle college, because they have so much patience and grace. Right now, they are doing orientation and getting 10th graders signed up for college at KVCC. And I can attest as a parent that there's a lot of anxiety in the students signing up on doing it right, and what happened to the password, and how do I get the password, and did I get signed up in time, or did I miss it or not, or, you know, all of that. And so specifically the names I have are Joe Lindsay and Lisa Bartel. And I know that there's others who are doing equally well, I just don't have their names. But I wanted to give a shout out to them because of how they are supporting our students who may not be the traditional students, who need that little bit of extra tweak to show their success, like we talked about the last meeting. And my kudos and appreciation to all of them for that. Taking a student who is not of your normal age or maturity to enter college, because 10th graders aren't there yet. They're just not. And yet they are getting them through the process and doing it with so much calmness. It's amazing. So I just wanted to give a shout out to them because they're doing amazing work.
Thank you, Kimberly. Anyone else?
Well, I just want to recognize both high schools as state champions in forensics. Portage Central placed first this year, and Portage Northern placed third. So those are our future lawyers and members of Congress and salespeople and people that can talk. So very, very great for them. And then you mentioned it, Mark, the student groups that of their own initiative went out, organized, and helped people clean up from the tornado that made TV even exposure. That was very impressive. So thanks to our students for being community-minded, as is one of our ends.
Thanks, Terry.
Maybe I'll just say something brief. Kimberly, thanks for recognizing the students at Northern with the Mike's recognition. I think Randy and maybe some others were at the open house there last fall, and I think we saw that paddleboard. And it was huge and it was impressive. So it's great to see something on the other end getting a Grand Champion award. And then finally, I would say to my colleagues, thanks for the last 2 or 2.5 hours, the extra time you put in today. Spirited, good discussion, and I think we made some progress on some important issues. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Bo. Anyone else?
I just wanted to bring up that a few of us were able to attend the IB ceremony for Portage Northern students this past week. And that was really neat. And the differences between Portage Northern and Portage Central and how they do their IB ceremonies with the influential educators that they're introducing. And I thought it was really interesting to see the different type of topics that they picked. It's fascinating.
Definitely.
Thanks, Emily. Anyone else? Okay, then. We'll move to the consent agenda. On page 7, we have 3 items tonight. The minutes from the May 6, 2024 Committee of the Whole work session and closed session. That the Board of Education approve as presented the renewal of Chartwell's food service management contract for the 24-25 school year and authorize the Director of Finance to execute the contract renewal. And finally, that we approve as presented the purchase of ELA curriculum resources for kindergarten through 8th grade from Bound to Stay Bound in the amount of $473,757, the funding for which will come from Section 35J funds and the 24-25 general fund budget. Are there any exceptions to the consent agenda as presented? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. And we can move to our first required action item on page 18, the KRESA 24-25 General Education Fund Budget. Is there a motion, please, on page 18?
President Van Antwerp, I move that the Board of Education adopt the resolution provided indicating support of the KRESA General Education Fund budget for the 2024-25 school year.
Thank you, Terry. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Paula, is there anything you'd like to share?
No, I have nothing prepared to share. I shared
Okay.
everything last time.
Right, okay. Anyone have any questions for Paula? With that, all those in favor of approving the KRESA 24-25 General Education Fund budget, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. And we'll move to our action item to set the budget hearing. There's a motion on page 26, please.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education set the budget hearing for June 24th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. as part of the board's June 24th, 2024 regular business meeting agenda.
Thanks, Ian. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Paula?
5 weeks from tonight is our planned budget hearing. It's so approved by the board tonight, so we can run the ad in the paper. By law, we have to run that ad at least 6 days prior to the budget hearing.
Very good. Any questions for Paula? Okay, all in favor of setting the budget hearing date, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? The motion passes. The budget hearing date is set. And with that, we've reached the end of our agenda. We are adjourned. Thank you. And I need the evaluations, please. 25, that's not bad, is it?
Remember that I will not be